Welcome everyone and welcome to All In, All United.
Remember the comment he made?
I thought from varsity.
Run Ryan.
Ryan.
And the other thing, you have players out there.
I think the fellas would take him more serious.
No way.
What grade?
That one I don't know.
Yes, because at the end of the day, right now, Manchester United are
We're not hearing a rim. Good night.
Man lost his voice, boy. That match. You're mute, man. You're mute.
You're still mute.
Try now. But we're not hearing you.
Man's probably watch that match and scream so much, man. Words can't come out his mouth, man.
Good. I feel you might have to come out and come back in, boy.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So we go start it off. Gents. I had my little hiatus. I had to, try to reset, the mental. Because Manchester United by itself is stress, and then when you add it to everything else, sometimes you really had to take a time out. So Rim, you're back in the inside.
Testing 1, 2, testing 1.
Yeah. You're back
Alright,
inside.
nice.
You're loud and clear.
Nice. Yes, so fellas, welcome everybody to All In, All United. We here, rain or shine, win, lose or draw loss, we here. Alright? And I don't know, I'm telling you, these podcasts becoming so repetitive because it's the same thing that we keep saying. And I can't remember who it was saying last time. It's like we could take a next pod that we do in the past and fit it in here and just change the team name and it could be the same thing because 19 months in and we still have no structure, no style of play, no passing patterns. And these are things that I believe should exist regardless as to who's starting games for we. Whether you have 2 players available or 10 players unavailable through injury. Right? A structure, a style of play, and passing patterns should be identifiable after a season and almost 2 seasons. You know what I'm saying? And we have not been seeing this. And all I hear is if this player was available, we would have been able to do this. If this player was or that player was available, we'd have been able to do that. Right? And let me just show you how bad it has been, right? In the last 7 games, we only have 1 win, 3 losses, and 3 draws. Right?
Wow.
Here, next one. There hasn't been 1 league game this season where we played well for a full 90 minutes. Right? And it gets worse. Here is one. Luton Town conceded 85 shots over the last 5 games, and they play City, they play Spurs, and they play Arsenal. And I want to know how much we conceded? 134 shots. And in there had Brentford and Bournemouth. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
You might add one to it.
Go ahead.
Nah? We're second in the league for the total number of shots conceded behind Sheffield.
That is relegation form.
And this is the season. Yeah.
Anyway, fellas, what's going on? What we say? Nico, good to have you back, man. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, that was like a little holiday, yes. Sometimes mentally, everything does get to you, boy, and United do help. We just look for something to ease, we stress, when everything else around you chaotic. You're saying, well, boy, well, I'm going to sit down and watch my team play. They might score a few goals and, you might feel better. But thankfully, I honestly didn't have the time to see the last few games. So it definitely would have been a disservice to come on the pod. I really haven't been around to view these few games, but again, around. I saw the game today, and again, I didn't miss anything. But I guess I saved myself a few gray hairs more. But I don't think I missed anything.
Yeah. I think I see two coming up here. And I mean, I'm not supposed to embrace it, boy, but I don't know. I feel that come as a result of watching this team now, boy. Well, Simeon, what are you saying?
You know, I always go into these games like having like a no real good expectations, but something about this game just kind of just dragged me down a little bit more, and I think it was possible, but after I missed it live. I watched the game because I gonna come on and talk here. I watched the game up to Bruno penalty. I had a bottle of Bacardi rum. I had here for like years. It just in my put up somewhere. After watching them men play, I take that take that bottle down and just have a little sip because what I mean, I know they're bad, but it's just something. I mean, I feel like we're going back to Ragnick. That Solskjaer Ragnick year, except without Ragnick. Like I feel like Ragnick would tell you, okay, these fellas ain't no good, and we ain't a whole new team, whatever. And you say, okay, well, we can do that, but we all know what happened there. But like, I feel like I don't know, like we ain't going nowhere. Like you look at Bournemouth, they started they had a new coach this year. They started off real bad, but as the season went by, they start playing better and better and better. Now they're like 11th, or they're like right mid-table team now. And you see how they play, and you see the structure, you see the spacing. When they attack, you see four-man cross the line options everywhere. When they defend, compact, and you see all these things that they have in place. And you look at us, and it's like, and we keep saying it, like nothing has changed. Like we still have the same open midfield. Everybody's been talking about that Ten Hag has no issue. I mean, I know we're gonna talk about the game, but like I'm taken aback by how even more than how bad we are, and the fact that we're not getting any better, and the coach we have, ain't really, I don't know we don't know what he's doing. So go ahead, JP. I'm just taking it back right now, man.
Yeah. I feel your Simeon, because it's true. Reem say at the start it come like we could come here and just we repeating the same thing over and over every week. We're gonna talk about how open the deal is. We're gonna talk about the predictable subs that Ten Hag make. We're gonna talk about we're not seeing any patterns at play. We're gonna talk about how Bruno playing over the pitch. We're gonna talk about the same things again that we have been talking about for the last few months. Nothing is changing.
Onana short arms, let's call it.
T-Rex. You're the T-Rex fan.
Yeah. No, nothing changed at all. And the thing is, I not even expecting anything out of games like this. And it's Bournemouth. This is a game where I would think, all right, this is a game we could bounce back. But no, this is not a game we could bounce back. Every team coming out and playing us, and we looking like like a prime Barcelona. So they're knocking the ball around us on top of the box, men knocking around us like if players phones. I watching for the first goal how men ball watching Ghana throw give away the ball and just stand up. And I thinking, but what going on here? What going on in this team? What needs to happen? What could happen to change things? And that to me is the most frightening part of it all. It's not the season dead. I'm not even looking forward to FA Cup because right now Coventry and all could beat us.
Yeah,
The way we play. So I'm not even
for
looking
sure.
forward to the FA Cup. So this season dead. But my question is, when the season done, what's happening? Yes, things changing at the top enough. But how long it going to take to purge out this team and really get back to where we're supposed to be?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right?
gonna take a while.
Riyad on the inside, Riyad, thanks for joining, man. He's saying another waste of 2 hours today. Yeah, that time you can't get back in it. You can't get back that.
Yeah.
All right. Satellite Lee on the inside, thanks for joining, man. He's saying very poor performance today. It looked like if they playing school football. Well, one team was playing school football, the other team was playing adult big man football, you know?
Yeah.
And that has been the case every game we watch, you know? So, fellas, I mean, you know, it had this saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, right? And I know we just rarely talk about team sheets now because we have become so predictable, right? But let me try to just, you know, let me throw some assumptions out there, right? You know, and I know Nico might be, I don't know if Nico on the side of Ten Hag how to go yet, so he's still, you know, in the middle, I know, right? But how to put it by, like, why he doing the same thing over and over and over? Is the same team being selected, right? They say, okay, let me be fair to him, right? Let me game where we had a game, right? Your defense changed up about how much times this season? Fair play. But you see that midfield, and that attack line, you have been playing your favorite players for the most part, right? And things not working. So all your white is Ten Hag, you know, expressing symptoms of insanity. Team sheet.
Team sheet was we had available. I mean, but for me, one of my biggest disappointments this season is Casemiro. You know, I think what Casemiro was able to do last season, Ten Hag thought he could have done it this season. You know, and that's not happening. That's not happening. He's not intercepting. You know, he's not intercepting. He's not starting attacks. He's looking like a Scott McTominay in the midfield right now. You know, and that is not a good sight. The entire fan base knew that we needed a proper defensive midfielder. With Casemiro there or not, we knew we needed that. You know, we talk about is Paulina from West Ham?
Yeah,
Fulham, right? We spoke about even Declan Rice when he was available, because we knew what this team needed. Kambala and them have no protection. Kambala have no protection. What if you was Varane, even when Varane was there, no protection. The defense has no protection, and then Dalot, he all over the place too, so you don't even know where Dalot is, right? So, to me, picking Casemiro week in, week out, not working, right? It's not working. But when you look at the bench, I think it have options we could try. You know, let me try Amrabat. Let me give Amrabat a try, because Casemiro not working all year. He's looking just like Max Tomony or even worse. So in terms of the team sheet, I would honestly like to see a change in that midfield position. The defense, all right. You have much, coverage for the defense. Yeah, Amas and them fellas on the bench, we understand that. But you see that midfield, something had to change. Rashford on the left hand side, Rashford can't beat a snail with a nail joke right now. So imagine
Where
a
you get that one
snail.
from? Where you get
No,
that one
imagine
from?
a snail have a nail joke and Rashford can't pass that. Right? And you need the same thing, and it's so predictable because we know you're not going to pass to Wan-Bissaka when you overlap. So Wan-Bissaka is wasting the energy overlapping. Right? So Rashford maybe need a rest. I'm not saying he gone through, he washed up. Maybe he need a rest. We see Garnacho as well. Even Garnacho getting, I think he getting despondent as well because I guess these fellas putting out everything and it have no value to the effort now. It have no end product to the effort. So even for those players who given so much, it come like Jedi just wasting my time because as we say, no pattern to play it. We don't know how we're gonna create a chance. Garnacho don't know how we're gonna get the ball, when you're gonna get the ball, if you're gonna get the ball, what you gonna do with the ball. Hoyland the same thing. He don't know when he gonna get the ball. He running up and down. So, but I don't know. But this team, this entire team, and I messed earlier, and it's real difficult to watch. It's real difficult to watch. So that is my thing on take on the team sheet.
Yeah.
I know I went all over the place, but as I say, the midfield terrible, and we're too predictable on the wings right now. And we don't know where the supply line coming from. We don't know.
Yeah. Simeon, go through now.
I mean, Nico pretty much live. I mean, everybody see for not this game, not last game, but game 4. Like we all know, Casemiro just not playing well. I mean, he's not himself. He's nowhere near the guy we bought. So you figure by now you would have found some way to, either put somebody else in there with him, like even Ollie, in his wisdom, put two, put two CDMs there. We get vexed, but they did a job for the most part. I already put two CDMs in there to sit in front of midfield to protect them. I mean, sit in front of defense to protect them. But I mean, Ten Hag ain't even doing that. I mean, he ain't even changing up. He just leaving it the exact same way all game. I mean, it really is all game. The man leaving Casemiro out there, and I have Menu who, and the thing is, Menu's not a defensive type. I mean, he can play defense, but you see Menu struggling. Trying to, get back because Casemiro can't really run. I mean, man can't run. I mean, literally, the man can't run. I mean, if we could see that, other teams could see that. I said last week we play Liverpool. You see Salah purposely ran right between Casemiro and Menu because he can. He's faster than them, and Casemiro can catch him. Menu can catch him, but people know that. But Ten Hag come back with the same team again. Rashford, they're saying he have an injury somewhere, right? Rashford have an injury. Like last game or something, Rashford recovered from an injury. The man played whole game today. Well, more or less whole game today. Like what? Hoyland, well, we have no other strikers, so whatever. Diallo, I thought Diallo came on, played well. I mean, he could get a start because he knows how to play football, knows how to rotate the ball and make it look like we're playing some kind of pattern or some kind of method to our offense. But that whole midfield has to change. Either we change personnel or we change formation because it's not working. And I don't know if you're waiting for a miracle to happen for it to work, but it has to change.
Yeah. JP. I mean, I think Nico and Simeon, touch on the same thing. But what I would like to get from you, JP, is, and I guess I'll probably put the most difficult question on you right now. But why do you think, with everything that Simeon and Nico say, why Ten Hag insisting on continuing with this with the midfield and with the attack?
Well, that's really a difficult question because to me, anybody who know any little thing about football and follow one team and see that they're doing the same thing over and over and over, it's not working, nothing in game being changed, nothing at the start of a game changing. You're playing a different team, you're trying something different. To me, anybody would have to question if the manager just so stubborn that he feel that he will play until they figure out how to play his way. That's the only thing I could say he trying to do. Like he just playing this team until they start to play how he want them to play. But you had to play your team to the players that you have too. Casemiro legs gone. So if you want Casemiro in the midfield for positional awareness and probably dropping in between the centre backs like that, then you have to have somebody closer to him. So right now, Menu playing basically how McTominay was playing, because he nowhere near to Casemiro. But he still have more intelligence to know when to drop back a little bit. But if you look at where Menu's starting position is, he basically had on Bruno. He's starting higher than Bruno right now for most of the game. If I wish I could have get a map to show like the positions of the players on the field, because I feel Menu would be higher up than Bruno. So he real far away from Casemiro, who have no legs. So I was telling you today, try 4-3-1-2. Put 3 men in the midfield. For Amrabat, Casemiro, and Meno in the midfield. Bruno in front of them and play Rashford as a striker with Hoyland. Try something different. So that way you could let the wing backs go forward and one of the men in the midfield could drop in a space when it becomes are we not so open. The manager had to start to think differently. This team have the players in midfield available right now. Defense, as you say, out the question. Midfield, we have some options. Yeah, Ericsson, you're signing Mount and Amrabat, another one of the players that he wanted on the bench. These players on the bench, I watching the camera pan them and them players linemen on the bench and the midfield skin open. And I think about this manager had to be crazy. You have players where you could pack your midfield a little more. Garnacho should have to start every game. Phil Foden's for a hat trick, what week it was, and the next game he didn't sweat at all. But we feel like if players had a P inform, he have to play. He inform, he have to play. You had Diallo. When Anthony there, you have Anthony. So in other positions, we have some options when the manager have to rotate and keep the team fresh. You're seeing how injuries turn out the defense. But you want to run Garnacho to the ground? Ten Hag doing some things that he have to answer for. The players had to answer questions, but Ten Hag had real questions to answer with the formation and how you running men to the ground.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get some comments here, right? Alan on the inside, thanks for joining, man. He said, "Oh, they realized that them fellas lock off after knocking out Liverpool in the FA Cup."
They wasn't playing good before that.
Yeah. King on really pray on the inside. Good night, man. Thanks for joining me. Saying Cass going through.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, Cap
Right.
looking this papi there right now.
Yeah. He also saying here Rashford taking years on the ball. Right. Alan saying here Nico telling the truth. Rashford like he needs to take a long rest on the bench. All right. Honorable saying here our team just frustrating. Yeah, no doubt. Alan saying here since Owen Hargraves we haven't gotten a quality defensive midfielder.
We had one in Casemiro last season, but not this one.
I think after Matic wasn't bad. Matic wasn't bad. Even though Matic came later on and when he was kind of on the decline,
He
I
was
still
still a
think he was
specialist
decent.
type. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anderson on the inside, thanks for joining, man. Good night to you. He's saying I haven't touched base in a minute. But the last time I was here, I asked if Ten Hag will be around next year. Right? Well, I think we might touch on that today, right? And I think we did touch on it in the last pod, so you can always check back that pod too, Anderson. Thanks for joining, man. Akid on the inside, thanks for joining, buddy. Saying very good points, JP. No squad rotation, players overworked, and Ten Hag keep trying the same tactics. I think the 4-3-2-1 will work, and we need a midfield rebuild. Yeah. Good points, fellas. Now, my thing is this, Casemiro, for a while now, not performing at the level that we require, right? And we've been saying it here. Meno, we talk about Casemiro getting isolated, and I don't know if it's a kind of psychological thing with Casemiro, because I saw, especially a Liverpool game, where Casemiro jogging back and a man blow past Casemiro. Now I know Casemiro from last season was gonna flying with a tackle, so I don't know if it's a mental thing where he not, because he know he do have the pace, and that's why I realized with Casemiro why he just flying with tackles, because
And he going down challenging, yeah. So long as he has any space behind him, he going down and challenging on the ground, so he can't run back. So somebody else do that work.
Right. And so I don't know if it's a psychological thing with Casemiro where he can't tackle, he's afraid to tackle now because he know the kind of, identify him as a yellow card, or
walking yellow card. Yeah.
So he say, I'm not going down, right? And I don't have the pace to catch them, so whatever. And he accept that, and Ten Hag accept that, because it's are certain players Ten Hag held bent on starting, whether that is him or whether he cared nothing about it because he can't control them egos in the club, or that is instructions from upstairs. I don't know. And I don't wonder, because if you as a manager can't see the deficiencies in the midfield setup that you've been playing for the past couple months and it's not working, then why not change? You call a whole different midfield that will give us something different on the bench, Amrabat, Ericsson, and Mount. That's a whole different midfield trainer.
That's a whole midfield, yeah.
You understand? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for no reason we cannot see a different midfield in that game. Why it is we can't see? All right, so Bruno undroppable. Bruno had energy, so why we can't play Bruno and Meno and put Mount in the 10? Why we can't do that? Why we can't play Casemiro and Amrabat and then a number 10? Because we talk about you have an inexperienced defender. Play the double pivot. We used to criticize McFred, but they used to protect the back line.
Yeah.
It's like you're not protecting the deficiencies and the weaknesses in your squad. Look at how Solanke do Kambala today, boy. I feel sorry for the man. Yeah, understand? And while Kambala getting turned inside out, you seen Casemiro walking, you seen Garnacho stand up on the hand on the side watching, and this little youth man twisting and turning and trying to catch his foot and all kind of thing. I sure the man probably got whiplash.
But Kareem, and I think by now you have to believe it's by design. That's the way that Ten Hag has to be comfortable with this. We talk about the shots that that other teams, the record amount of shots we get that they're taking on us. You look back to last year, better defense, but we wonder how De Gea won Golden Glove last year. How? When shots, every time they break, it was shots on the Gea, but De Gea is a better shot stopper than Onana. This is not a this year thing. It's just more visible this year. Because like I said, De Gea would have never won that award last year if the defense wasn't taking all kind of shots. It's just we had better defenders last year for the most part. I guess you play a little bit better, I guess. But
and on top of that, Simeon, the goalkeeper was better.
Yeah. But it's systemic. It's not like Erik ten Hag don't see it. It's something he's comfortable with. And that's what it feels like, because if you don't change the midfield, you're okay with it. Tell me, tell me I'm wrong. I mean, you have forwards, who can keep the ball in possession, but yet you send the whole front line up, everybody up in attack, and hardly anybody back. And the one CDM you have can't run really. I mean, it just seems like when we and put talk, they talk about Campbell today, but I don't know what we would do without Campbell today because he's the only one back there with real speed and like he got back so many times when there was danger. Like even though he made mistakes, and his position was bad. Like just his pure speed was what covered a lot of attacks today. But like, I mean, it has to be a risk this man is taking. I mean, it has to be. Like, I just don't understand because it's so blatant. We wonder like our midfield has been broken for how long, and and we wonder if Ten Hag could fix it because it's year two right now. We got Casemiro who's not good. We send Van der Beek away because we say he's no good. We send Hannibal away. Well, even though you're hothead, the man still know how to play defense, offense, and defense. But we send midfielders away, and we kept these guys. We brought Mount in. We get number 7 jersey for him to play 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Like I don't know. I mean, I'm talking here, but I'm already trying to figure out what the coach thinking because it makes no sense. No sense at all.
Yeah, even on top of that, right? I mean, it's like you're asking yourself what the players on the bench have to do to even get a fair shot at what for grabs because Ahmad came on, and apart from the goal versus Liverpool in the FA Cup, you could have seen his contribution in terms as you were saying, Simeon, ball retention, his movement was good, he was pressing, he was trying to make things happen. And I mean, the suspension was unfortunate, but even since he came back, this is Ahmad first set of minutes, and we asking what going on. You have a player like Ericsson on the bench, right? And this what getting to because I'm still trying to figure out why it is Ten Hag sticking with the same thing that's not working, right? He keep talking about routines, in terms of not having all his players, but you have your front six. You've been playing with our front six since the turn of the year. You have one game a week. What it is all you're working on in training that we can't come on a match day and see, right? I don't understand. And I'm not seeing where you're saying, well, okay, let me bring Amrabat in, let me double up Amrabat for this game, because as I was saying before, Campbell as a youth man, I don't want to, expose him. So let me try something different. Let me try to play 3 at the back to protect Campbell a little bit. Ten Hag, he just have this one way of play, and it's either you sink or you swim, right? And I don't know, no, guys, I don't know if later down next season it might be of benefit to the squad. You understand what I'm saying? But in my mind, you had to think you had to be able to plan for the future while doing well now, right? Because football is a kind of unforgiving sport, right? I understand back in Fergie times, Fergie, would have been mediocre for a pretty long time. But I don't think managers will be afforded that kind of time now. The sport change. I don't know if anybody have a different thought to that. But that's how I see it. So you have to be able to manage a squad now to get the kind of results. Let's see certain things that we could say, well, okay, these things are identifiable. The team playing a particular way, bam, 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 even though we know this is what we're working toward. And whatever steps you need to take it gradually. So I don't know, fellas. I really don't know. But we could move on into
But
the
Kareem,
game.
one more thing. You say we play. I mean, think about that. You say we play in the same team hoping to get better. Why didn't get it better? Like if that's your preferred team, why every week they're coming out and they look like they get the final third and they look confused? Like what they do? Like what are they gonna do? You know,
Because
right?
they're worried.
Rashford,
They're worried. Them know they're gonna play next week. Them are worried. So without a fight for.
And the thing is, every manager we saying the same thing, you know. It's the
Yeah.
same thing we saying. We
It's
asking
the same.
what does we do during the week?
Yeah,
Every manager we asking the same question.
because
So
I
then
mean,
who's to
no.
blame? Then it's the players then.
no, but it can't because it have a new set of players now. Casemiro wasn't there, Mount wasn't there, Ericsson wasn't there, Anthony wasn't
It's
there.
about a virus in that club, but he's some kind of virus, some kind of pandemic that hit players when they reach in that club, boy.
You really had a question what going on because so for instance with the first goal last score. When I think about the teams that to the top of the table and how they defend, when City in transition going forward, they lose the ball. You don't see men walking back or studying, well, all right, here you will cover that. You don't see the team as a unit start to go back and block spaces. Defending is not just running and pelting an attacker behind a man. Defending is about closing off spaces, the passing channels too. And that is something that I'm not seeing that we're doing as a defensive unit. So Rashford and Garnacho don't have to run back and track a man, but they have to go and close spaces so that it's not so easy to pass through the team. So to me, that's the kind of things I want to know too, as in training. You see in Arsenal doing it, Liverpool, City, Villa. You see in other teams doing it when they lose the ball, how quickly they have to compact so that teams can't just pick them apart. But with us, we hitting a long ball forward and 6 players up front with nobody in the middle. And as soon as we lose that ball, you see men just casually jogging back, looking around to see who will run it down. They don't have no kind of team. We're not doing anything as a team.
You see, and the thing, JP, yes, ultimately, the manager responsible for that. But the players are again, and there's something that Nico just touched on. Every manager experiencing that when they come in. We saying this, we are now saying this in the fellas. We saying this seasons are back, Since Mourinho we saying this, right? And while I agree the managers before would have had, them have responsibility to take, and that's why they're not here anymore. But where's the common denominator? Right? Why it is we saying the same thing every second season? Something wrong with them players, boy. Something wrong too.
I mean,
Ten Hag tripping, As JP say, he on the white powder, right? I agree with that, right? He tripping. But something is wrong with what's going on with this club in terms of the playing staff. Them fellas just dropping tools. And again, I will continue to repeat what Ollie's saying. And maybe, just maybe perhaps, Ollie and Ten Hag going about it the wrong way. Let me just be an advocate for the players. Maybe they're going about, changing the style the wrong way. Maybe they're supposed to do it bit by bit and hug up the players and them and make sure that don't train them too hard.
Well, add Mourinho and add Ragnick to that list too.
No, I don't like Mourinho. Fire for you.
No, but I'm talking about the same thing we're talking about in terms of we're saying the same thing for the last how much years.
Yeah.
With all these managers.
I mean, the thing is, the only manager that I keep coming back to the man called Ragnick. Ragnick was the only manager that came in that thought he had control of changing a team. Being the director of football, he used to want to keep in and say, well, at the end of the day, I decide who come and go. If you want to act up, I could go get some new players in the summer. Like that was his mindset. Like he said, this team ain't good enough. After each game, he said, well, we rebuilt, we ain't good enough. He tell you, okay, well, this fella could sit on the bench. And you wondering why Rashford ain't playing, wondering why this player ain't playing. You say, well, you know, players ain't good enough. They ain't doing well enough. And he felt so confident in what he was gonna do. And next thing you know, he gone. You know, so we have to watch at the same time watching Ten Hag talking nonsense. We have to watch what Rangnick did and what happened to him in summertime. Because he was, I mean, the man just escorted out of the building, you know, take a key, he take the key, the key for the door. I mean, the man was gone, and we know, what happened, but he was just gone. And you remember that when Ten Hag first came in, Ten Hag said, I will get the best out of Rashford. Now, I'm not here to get on Rashford today because I thought he played okay defensively. He got back, even though his side where he didn't see a lot of attacks, it attacked him on the other side. But Rashford did the minimum today. He got back, he ran back. Even though he didn't, he took dumb shots and he didn't really affect the offense a lot. Did the bare minimum. Should have been subbed off for Mount or somebody else, but did the bare minimum. But like everybody that says anything bad about some players, they all end up out of the club. So I just feel like anytime you get new coaches, it's like Febreze or aerosol. Like a Febreze, they come in, it's pretty some Febreze, in the air, and it smells good for a while. But the thing's still there, and after 1 year, Febreze wear out, and it comes right back to the top. That's why we're seeing the kind of football we're seeing right now.
Yeah, yeah. But JP, how you see this, right? Because I mean, what myself, Nick, and Simeon basically, kind of echoing, is that the manager ultimately responsible, but something deeper than just the manager, and those players, you know, could be sabotaging. I mean, I'm not saying that they're doing it intentionally, but to see a player go from 100 to 0 consistently every 2 seasons, worrying.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a culture thing, because the culture of the club 11 years ago was a winning culture. So when you come into the club, you know what it was, the standard that you had to play up to, and is why I like to listen to Ferdinand Vivid 5 to hear a player from that era talk about the standards of the club on a consistent basis and how every training session was and what it was like being a Manchester United player. And I think after Fergie left, everything went downhill so quickly for the club. And you saw the power that the players had immediately with Moyes. From there, I think it was a culture shift in that dressing room, especially how Moyes get rid of like leaders in that team. Like a song weird for me to hear Rio say it, but he was saying that Johnny Evans is a player we should not sell at the time that we sold him. He was saying Smalling is a player we should not sell when we sold him. He said have players at the club that they got rid of who knew the club, the fabric of the club, what it was about at the time. And I think that is part of what caused this whole culture shift where we lose everything so quickly from what we knew. And this new culture that was created is a toxic one. So really and truly the solution to this is an actual clean out on the levels of what Chelsea did last season. That is the
So,
kind of clean out
mhm.
that is about to take.
So, and you talking about, and it's clicking in my mind somewhere that we spoke about this already. I think we spoke about progressive planning, right?
Yeah.
Or progression planning. So what happened even in that era with Ferdinand or even with Fergie, there were no progressive planning. So
Right.
all these so all these players would have reached our age where we really had to start to move them on, after Fergie era. So because there were no progressive planning, then I think that is where everything fell down. And I think if we really had a proper structure in place from then,
Yeah.
no, we don't have to start from zero now. Because right
Yeah.
now we're going to start from zero. So even if let me
Yeah.
say the last Fergie he leaving and in okay, I in 2 years, 3 years time I leaving, then we should have put things in place so that when Fergie leaves, it's like I mean, we don't need to depend on Fergie, but we have this machine working behind the scene,
Right.
even with the same ideologies that Fergie had, how we are so
Who would not hire
successful
Moise?
working in the back. So even whoever come in, hey, there's the culture here, there's the structure, there's what we just work within, right? And it's either you could work with this, yes, and if you can't work with it, you'll find somebody else. But then we bring
Yeah.
somebody else now who we hoping would do what Fergie used to do without a plan, without a structure in place. And that way we is now, and that way we have to start from zero to even try to find if we could ever reach back to where we were. And there's a possibility
Yeah.
we may not. Or it might take
Exactly.
it may take a very long time because
Yeah, I mean,
other teams so far along in the process
Yeah.
that for we to catch
Yeah.
up now is a lot of work we have to catch up.
I remember
I mean,
financial fair play is an even bigger part of it now. That
Yeah,
is more serious now.
yeah,
yeah, I mean, but talk about what JP, like the whole culture thing, like what reminded me of the Ragnick years was like when we losing and it's like you watching this team playing badly and you watch Ten Hag, like even the commentators were like, why is Ten Hag so calm? Like then for us getting like run through the whole first half, no reaction from Ten Hag. You know, you watching the players after the first goal scored. No, after Kambala fall down, like no one really went and pick him up. There's
Yeah.
no like leader, like
Yeah.
I mean,
Nobody
Bruno
listen.
talks, but ain't nobody really listening to Bruno. It's like you know, just talking, and like, and you look at Rashford, like Rashford when he took that shot when he should have passed the hole in the middle, and he came in on the left hand side, took a shot, it went like in side netting or something. And Holland make the good run and looked at him like, what? Like, why did you pass the ball? And but Rasmus didn't go at Rashford. He just, say, boy, this is a mess. But you see Garnacho, when Garnacho tried to pass the ball to Rashford and went like, the pass didn't come off. You see Rashford like, pull up and screw up his face and do all kind of thing, pull his shirt away his face, like all kind of nonsense. Like we have no, it's one thing for Rashford not to be a leader, but to have that kind of bad energy all the time, that's the problem. And you have Canacho, like that he needs to be coached. I mean, we talk about, like Canacho, clearly, I mean, we talk about him and his choices, shoot or not, needs to be coached. And today was really a day he needed to be coached.
Yeah.
But we don't have those players like Casemiro. You think he would have been one of those guys. Maguire is not captain anymore. Um, it's a good thing, but at the same time, you already see his voice in the team anymore. Um, I mean, who are the leaders in this team? Like, who could pull guys up and keep them in check?
Yeah. I
Bruno has
remember.
no.
Yeah, I remember, and that's a good point to make this even because I remember last season, and it's easy to be a leader when things going well. And I remember last season, one of the things that we used to talk about a lot was especially with the defensive line. Every time they win a tackle, you see, the they gain each other five, chest pumping, that kind of thing. And we was
Madness.
here praising, that kind of mentality and that kind of attitude. But the true leadership does really show when things not going good. Because and it's really disappointing to see because you talk about the whole Kambwala thing. Kambwala now gets skin out and nobody there to give him a hand to pull him up. Casemiro jogging because he in his own head. Bruno there arguing with everybody, right? Rashford in his own head, Garnacho in his own head, Hoyland in his own head. I remember early in the season when Hoyland was just here. From the time we get a ball on the wing, Hoyland bursting. All you realize Hoyland jogging now. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like we were thinking that this team had leaders, but your leadership isn't evident when things going good. You got to be able to pull up your team. You understand when we're going through a rocky patch, and I had to see that, and it's not happening. So I had to really question the metal and the mentality of the players that we have right now because to me, it looking as though a lot of them fellas done give up already. And they're just going through the motion until the end of the season to see what's going to happen with Ineos. Whether I going to be here still or not. And that is a scary place to be, especially as a manager, because at the end of the day, it's your head on the chopping block. And this is why I continue saying Ten Hag has to start to make some decisions for himself. Right? And not because of players. I drop in Bruno not because I afraid Bruno, because the way we're going right now, playing you every game, I still going to lose my walk. Right? Casemiro, you could vex how much you want on the bench. I leave in the field, either way I gonna lost my walk. So let me do what I do. Right? And I think this is how Ten Hag has to operate because you're trusting these players week in, week out. You're getting the consistency with the players and they're not responding. Today, I see Ten Hag and it happened in the game against Chelsea. It happened in the game who we play after Chelsea.
Was it Liverpool?
Liverpool, right. Yes, it happened in the Liverpool game. I see Ten Hag on the side, and this is the part of Ten Hag that I support. I see Ten Hag telling them, put the ball on the ground, or like calm the football, pass it wrong. You've seen him do that, and right as the camera, pan back on the field, Bruno with a long ball, Casemiro with a long ball. It's like, what going on? And this is why I always go back to what Ragnick say. Go for players who on their first contract, who would listen to managers, not who feel they're ready, and you have to listen to them. I see, and even the commentator picked up on it today. Ten Hag was telling Bruno something, and Bruno telling Ten Hag, no. What going on? What going on? Who's the boss?
So I'm thinking something because all these long balls that Bruno and Casemiro does play, is it that is a reflex? I want to say a reflex because in training, let me say Rashford running against Eriksen. I just saying, right?
Save the second away, at least. Save the second away, Eriksen.
No, Eriksen. So he'll be going through. So it could be a reflex to Bruno and Eriksen. Bruno and Casemiro. That, in a game, players come in, everything happening 100 miles an hour. This is working training. Boom, point over. Most likely, Rashford will run past whoever and score. So that will be happening in training. So maybe that had a change in training, right? Because maybe that would have been doing training and be getting through. So the go-to is, right? Yeah, quite long, and Rashford will run on to that score. Because the quality in the training is poor.
But what I was saying too, right, Nico? You're doing it in training, and then you're going into games, and you do it over and over, and you're just hoping at one point it work. And let me say it come off once, that is still one successful attempt out of how much failed attempts.
Yeah.
So
but you brainwashed it now. You brainwashed it, so you had no time to think. So your natural reflex is that now. Because that was happening. I see Maguire today. Right? I think he passed the ball to Ahmad. It had 3 men on Ahmad. He passed the ball on Ahmad. He passed the ball to Ahmad. Ahmad lose the ball. And now you out of position trying to figure out, well, how you're going to get back.
Yeah.
Then
That's
you have to
bad.
understand your players, right?
Yeah.
Hey, nah, most likely 3 men on Ahmad. He might not, let me play it with some. You know what I mean? But you had to be thinking too. Yeah.
And there's it. So it has certain things that, again, I can't blame Ten Hag for. But then come Ten Hag, Amrabat,
Yeah.
Ericsson, Mount,
You gotta do
and
something. You gotta
why,
do something different. You
yeah,
gotta do something different.
and why all your changes is always like for like changes. Like, what the hell, boy?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna get 2 comments here. Christopher on the Insight, thanks for joining, man. He's saying Nico talking sense. How many times do you
Nice,
want to blame a manager? Right? Our players have been allowed by this club ownership to take liberties with no repercussions. Do you really expect anything to change in their attitude? There you go. Right? Akida's saying here, there are no standards and competition for places at the club. Before 100 million, Grealish got injured. He lost his place to Doku. You just see other teams pressing and fighting because at big clubs you give 50% or have a bad performance and you will be on the bench till the next international break. I agree with Rashford giving them 50% and collecting 300 per week and still starting. Yeah, there you go. Right? And on this side is where I'm blaming the manager. Unless, Olia, we don't know that Ten Hag getting instructions from upstairs that these fellas have to play. If these are Ten Hag
Nah, that's happening. That's happening.
Still,
well, they were
like,
saying,
man.
and if this is Ten Hag's decisions, then Ten Hag had to take blame because
Yeah.
you have players there who willing to come on and play, and you keep on insisting on these players who giving you 50%. Nah, man. Up to now, I can't
Unacceptable.
see. Yeah, up to now, I can't see a Amrabat, Meno, Mount midfield. Why we can't see that?
Yeah.
Why we
I
can't
agree.
see Amar?
I agree.
Why we can't see Amar, Hoyland, and Garnacho, or even Forson or something on the summer
Something
saying that?
different. Something different.
Yeah. Mount back from injury long enough. Amrabat and get like a proper run in the team to stay in defensive mid. I find like there are options, and if it not being utilized, then you're not making sense because they can't be just trying the same thing right through, and it's not working, and everybody could see it. Is like the commentators now making it a case to talk about the number of shots we conceded every game. Every game. You're sure to hear them
Yeah.
talk about that now. We
Yeah.
concede 20 shots today from Bournemouth. 20
Yeah.
shots.
And with the next annoying thing, Ten Hag keep talking about, if he had all his players fit, which is a very ideal situation and nothing ever ideal in the real world,
Yeah.
first to begin. But also, the reason why your team's struggling for patterns is because you only training 11 players when you have a squad of 20-something players.
Clearly.
You understand?
Clearly.
Fellas, so we were talking about, the player issues and stuff like that. Now, we had a little, and I shared it earlier, right? So, Ten Hag, post-match, was asked about, the game, and in the game, he had some comments that, kind of linked to Garnacho, right? So, this is what he had to say, right? He said, we were not always well organized, especially over the right side. Right? There came some gaps and the opposition could benefit from it. And we should have done this better. Right? He also said, I think we had to repair over the right side. We didn't play well. The spaces were there. In possession, we had to bring a sub there. Garnacho, during the week, he didn't train. He only trained yesterday. We thought bringing some energy and bringing some more quality, and when you say quality, is in the sense of cooperation and togetherness on the right hand side, right? So those were the comments with relation to his when he sub Garnacho. Now there was a comment on somebody posted on Twitter, and Garnacho liked the comment, right? I don't know if you all could see the the post properly, right? But basically, the person said Ten Hag subtly blaming Garnacho, in this post-match press conference. Not a good look throwing a 19-year-old under the bus who has actually delivered for you this season. But then again, he's clearly scared of upsetting the big earners, right? Now, Garnacho liked the comment, right? Garnacho liked the comment. Now, what are the thoughts on Ten Hag's comments and Garnacho's quote unquote response?
First and foremost, I don't think Ten Hag trained under the bus. If he didn't train for the week and you only trained yesterday, it makes sense that he may not be as fit or as energetic as somebody else who has been training for the week. So if the right side was the problem side, and I know that Garnacho didn't train for the week, and maybe that is why he's not given the output, then it only makes sense to change him for somebody who would have been training for the entire week, which is Ahmad. So I don't think that Ten Hag trained under the bus. I think it was logical. I think somebody that's looking for, again, something to talk about is Manchester United. United sell papers or get likes or attention. So that is what they're peddling. And again, I always have a question mark around who likes it, yes or no, right? Because I think the statement was justified by Ten Hag.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying, Nico. But the issue is, players' response now.
But I did think so. I don't know if that is really Garnacho who responded to
Yeah,
that.
it's Garnacho, that isn't. Because
I just have asked serious question mark over that. Because we know how social media is, we know the internet is, we know how. So I just have a question mark over that. So I don't really pay that too much mind, to be honest.
All right, fair play. Go ahead.
I am to a point. Ten Hag could say what he say, but I feel like he should have stopped at Garnacho didn't train properly this week. And leave it
No, I think
at
he didn't say properly. I think he said you only trained one day for the week.
One day, yeah.
Right.
So he should train one day for the week, and we just wanted to freshen up things on the right hand side. Something so. I think he said a little too much about it, and that is how it kind of seemed like he threw him under the bus. But for me, I think Ten Hag make himself look worse, because if you have options on that side with Ahmad, and he even had Forson on the bench, then why you start gonna if you train one day for the week? Hey, you have options. So to me, that is where the bigger question is in that comment he make. And if I was a reporter, that would be my follow-up. So then, if you have options, then why not play options and instead of starting Garnacho if you didn't train a full week?
Yeah.
Yeah, and bring him on later. Yeah. In terms of Garnacho liking the post, that is not a good look at all. And even Ahmad had up a little kind of cryptic thing too, where he posts the emoji with his zip. Like when you zip it, he had a picture of himself with just that. So even Ahmad had up something that's a little questionable at making it, how things will spin, and that's why these players have to be careful, because when you do that now, it's just going to add to all these stories of all the unrest in the dressing room and the players knocking the manager. So that was stupid of him, and I think is most of the time these players have somebody who controlling the social media. Most of the time it's not them who really doing it. So why they allowing the PR people to like throw them under the bus basically by doing them kind of stupidness?
Exactly.
Yeah. Simeon?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder about the whole, Garnacho training one day and energy and stuff, but Garnacho, he didn't look like he was lost for energy this game. I mean, man was still playing at, still playing hard, but it's like he's playing without, you know, kind of playing just kind of wild. I mean, like my thing with Ten Hag is you see the right side break down, or for the whole first half, and you see men throw their hands up, yelling, but I didn't really see Ten Hag like call anybody over, or do some coaching. I didn't see no real coaching about to the team, or instructions about that side. Like I feel like you just kind of sat down for the for the whole first half and watched it happen. And you know to to take Ganacho off. I mean, I can't. You know, I'm not gonna knock that decision. But I kind of wondering what discussion was like after he did it. Like, I wondering what that talk was. You know, um, Especially given we don't know if it was him that liked it, but after all that has gone on in this club, especially the last 2 years with social media and stars, kind of having disagreements with the manager, for you to like that, if he did like it, that's a big deal. That's a huge lack of respect, you know, for the coach, and that points at player power. Either player power, or they look at Ten Hag and they have no respect for him. You know, in a team this a team, a club this dysfunctional. We hear all the things happening, behind the scenes. We see what happened with Ronaldo. We see Sancho. We see all kind of stuff. Ahmad was kind of big. We know what's going on there. But you just can't have another issue like this. Like, why is it always our players? And I partly blame Eric Ten Hag. I mean, myself kind of mean, but you can't have a player. You broke Nacho in as a youth, and you let that man play all kind of football, and every single game you hardly see any change, or any improvement, any evolution in Galactic game. You hardly see any
Yeah, but
evolution
yeah,
in.
but then we listen to in the rest of the entire team, so we can't just say that in terms of
But yeah,
seeing Ganacho improve now. Ganacho could only improve now if the team improve.
but
That's why I say it earlier. That's why I
no, I
say.
mean, yeah.
that
But
makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
if you don't pull, if you can't pull Ganacho aside and coach him before, why wait till he have an issue with you? Like, you let these players do what they want, as long as it helps, as long as he can score a goal here, score a goal there. As soon as it comes back to you, you're like, oh, you get, like, don't wait till it's a problem to start coaching. Don't wait till goals boom. It's obvious to start coaching. You let these guys get too big, and then you know then you can't correct them. You know, and that's my only issue with tonight.
Yeah. Just get two comments here. Um, Anderson saying here, look at Newcastle. They had so many injuries here, and them palm up Newcastle today. I mean Tottenham today. Um, Cave on the inside cave. Yeah,
Good night,
man.
man.
Long time, buddy. Thanks for joining, man. He's saying here Ten Hag was asked a question about Garnacho and gave an explanation why he subbed Garnacho. Mark Goldbridge is very divisive for this fan base, and I'm disappointed in Garnacho liking that post. Ten Hag needs to address ASAP. Right? He's also saying here, and if I was a coach, I'm picking Garnacho over Ahmad. At this point of the season, you have to pick players you trust more rather than a gamble or whim. And that's not dissing Ahmad, it's just Garnacho has been more reliable and present all season. All right. Last point, Garnacho is a 19-year-old. If I was a coach, I wouldn't be starting him in 29 consecutive club games. That's
Exactly.
overkill, and too many times we've seen teams overplayed and struggle to reach those heights in seasons to come. Pedri, Freddy, Adu, he still exists. Michael Owen, and Fati. Just a few to mention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good points, Gabe. But what we're talking about in terms of the Ahmad v Garnacho thing, right, is, and this is not necessarily Ahmad v Garnacho, but it's more of the players who've been playing more often than the others. Yes, we know it could come down to a trust thing, but at some point, you have to see where something not working, right? And you have to make changes, right? Because it will cost you your job. So you might as well, you know, show that, listen, you could do different things. You're not one track, especially after, doing it over and over and the outcome not changing. You have to show us that you could do different things, that you're tactical up here enough to say, well, you know what, let me try three here and let me not expose this player. So if Amrabat not going to work in a single pivot, then let me set up the team in such a way where Amrabat will give me something different, right? Because Casemiro not working. So let me see how I could fit in Amrabat here in a system that will help him help me. Let me see if I could bring in Mount, to help him help me. Because I've been trying this way with these players and I have not been winning. Cave in the last 7 games, 1 win, 3 losses, 3 draws. So what I'm telling you, something had to change, right? So I mean, going back on the Garnacho thing, I agree. Garnacho sort of the things behind closed doors, please. And I said it with Sancho before Sancho came out and whatever, if whoever is your PR person and they like that without your knowledge, bust their throat, right? Because these kind of things, as JP was saying, it is cause attention, the negative publicity at the club that we don't need at this point in the process, right? Because we're not going through a good place on the field, right? But yet your PR person liking stupid posts that speaking ill about you, kind of disrespecting your manager because you get sub off and he make a comment that again, as Nico say, I didn't see anything wrong with the comment, right? He say what he had to say, right? Garnacho didn't perform today, right? On the flip side, what I would also like to see is when other players, the big earners, if you will, I would like to see consistency from the manager in his comments post-match.
I agree.
Because other players don't get that kind of criticism.
Yeah.
You understand? And and they well-earned criticism and they don't get it. But soon as, Jadon Sancho, yes, his reaction was bad. I'm not supporting the reactions, right?
Yeah.
But Jadon Sancho, Garnacho, they perform badly, they get questions asked, and Ten Hag laying it out there. But other players, you're not laying it out there. So let me get consistency. That's all I'm asking for. Me and saying come out and just bad talk your team, and I'm not saying. But if you go and do it for Peter, come now, man. So that's my thing.
Yeah.
And one more thing we talk about, the things that Ten Hag, has been working on. Like remember when the talk was getting Rasmus some more shots, some more chances in front of goal. Like what happened to that? Like what happened to feed Rasmus the ball? I was watching a stat. It's like he like 2 shots in like 2 games, like or some nonsense like that. I mean, like
we have no pattern of play, so how we will get the ball to Rasmus? We not progressing the ball in no kind of with no pattern
Systematic way.
To create any kind of attacks. Everything that is happening is out of some player doing something. That's what it is. It's individuals doing something that we scoring goals. It's hardly from we pass the ball to the something passes, we penetrate the opposition, and then boom, we pass it one final pass and a man tap it in. We're not playing that football. So that's why Rasmus will not get the ball. So and remember when Rasmus scored the 7 goals, a lot of them was out of Rasmus doing it for himself, basically, picking up off us and scoring. It wasn't that we started to feed him and that's how we were scoring. So
Yeah.
that situation, and so that's another thing that hasn't been addressed in the team.
I
Yeah.
mean, we keep going. I mean, what has been addressed? Let me turn around. Like what
Nothing,
has Ten Hag fixed? You know,
nothing is a total regression this season. Everything from last season that we thought Ten Hag built and started to repair is like it didn't have a foundation like they built that in the beach and high tide come and rip down everything.
Ah, Cave said here, um, he's in Amaran. Let him prove himself. He deserves to start, which I think he may be capable of. If a manager isn't selecting a player, I question the player more than the manager because you earn your start in training. How are these guys in training? Energy wise, performance wise, attitude wise. You earn your start in training, and that's something we're not privy to. We just have to hope the entire coaching staff is using their best judgment. All right. Eric on the inside, thanks for joining, man. He's saying fraud hag is quick to blame players and never admitting to his mistakes.
hey, what's that?
Yeah, he always said they play good and think that we should have win, we deserve to win. Yeah, Kim also saying, but I get what you're saying because one of the biggest question marks is why Ghana was sold for 8.9 million and Amrabat was bought in on loan for 8.7 and he can't fit here. Question marks on players starting and being subbed in. Well, there you go. You understand? So, right? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I
As
think
a
we've
manager,
good.
you can't trust 11 players alone as a manager. You gotta trust your team. So yes, you might trust one player more than the other, but you had to have faith in a player and say, all right, maybe Ahmad wasn't doing the greatest in training, but I'm gonna train him in this game and see how he perform. Yeah, at some point you have to do that because you can't just be like how Zidane Iqbal and for just sit on bench a whole season and you don't even know if they could actually handle being in the first team. So you had to have a little more faith in men if they're making the bench at some point to say, well, I'll train from the start in this game and see how you perform.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, well, guys, I think that brings us to the end of the pod. You know, I'm not even going into talking about Coventry because I expect us
Nah,
to get a hard game. Coventry coming confident as a cup final for them before the final. You understand? So they
yeah.
come in with everything, and we go in there broken, right? And the strange thing about this group is they could never tell which team gonna
Mm.
show up. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But we sure as I think you said for us you probably post with what Paul Scholes said. We could win that game 5-0, but we're gonna come off the field being battered. That is what a convention game going to be. You know? Win or lose, right? We're going to come off that
Eh,
field battered.
it is what it is. And I really hope that whatever going to happen, from the summer go forward, whether Ten Hag's still here or not, I really hope is for the betterment of the club and to really see us move up and not go through another, linear or downward spiraling period, because that could be real frustrating as a Man United fan. Really,
What?
really and truly.
Imagine we going to what Chelsea going to this season.
Jeez and
Wow.
ages.
After we
Jeez and
spend,
ages.
listen, we spend and we going to, woo, spend 600 million and we going to,
Don't hear what I say, right? Don't hear what I said. Hear what I said. Only if Chelsea win their game in hand, they're gonna be 2 points behind we, yeah? Just remember that, sir. They're gonna
Exactly.
be 2 points behind we.
yeah,
Exactly.
I will be
Yeah.
surprised if Chelsea pass us any season because we not playing
That's what is
nothing.
so embarrassing. That'll be real embarrassing.
Imagine Chelsea experiencing one of the worst seasons and they come and take over we, yeah?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
mean, anyway, fellas, it was nice. Nico, JP, Simeon, those in the comments we do appreciate. You know, um, coming through on the podcast even after these dismal performances and the place where
Yeah,
this
well,
team is right now. We do appreciate you coming in and you're venting, you're sharing your views and getting involved in the discussion. right? So don't forget, guys, to like and share the video. We're also on YouTube, so you can check us out and subscribe if you haven't already. Right? So, guys, next week Sunday, we will be here again. Coventry City in the FA Cup semi-final in Wembley. All right, that might actually be the highlight of the season. You know, so let me hope for the best. You know, so have a good night, everybody. See you on the next one.
Good night.
Great.